Good morning, Mountains. We are live here on the Startup Morning Show. JJ Pruitt, Bradley Dameron from the mean streets of Marbone Creek, and Darryl McCoy here. Guys, want to thank you guys for joining us here each and every morning here on the Startup Morning Show. As we getting a little late start this morning, but better late than never, guys. Good morning, Bradley.
Good morning, guys. It's good to see you all today.
JJ, how was your drive over from Man?
It was actually a smooth trip. I was in Nate one this weekend, so I didn't have to worry about the cones that are on the road or anything like that. So yeah, it was actually a really smooth trip today.
Well, I was getting ready to say, did they still have the cones? But you don't know that, do you?
I would imagine that they do. West Virginia is notoriously known for taking their time when it comes to working on the state roads.
Well, awful what they're doing there. With the cones, I hate that they're continuing to work on that road. I hope they get it done soon. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't take them, that long to do anything when it comes like that. Because I've seen some people go at nighttime and do miles and miles of road. Why not go one night and just get it all done at once?
But the place that you're referring to had to be Kentucky.
Yeah, it was.
Kentucky is well known for taking care of their roads.
Well, we did until we lost our co-severance tax, and now it's a little harder for them to take care of the roads. They don't do it near as much. The roads are getting a little rough around here, right, Bradley?
Roads are rough everywhere right now, man. I tell you, you have that little spot on the Tulsa Highway going towards Crum, where they put the little stop signs in, and I just think after a while of it falling in, they're just like, the heck with it. It'll just be one lane here from now on.
Well, that's surprising because over in West Virginia, I know exactly the spot you're talking about, and at the end of the day, just go fix it. Because what it's going to end up doing is creating a bigger mess if you let that mess go. Because it's going to end up breaking on out.
It's going to end up breaking on out. Someone's going to come around there late at night and not realize maybe someone not familiar with the area.
I can't believe somebody ain't already got killed there.
Yeah, it's amazing. I just love how they might say that sarcastically, but I just love how they just said, you know what, we don't need to fix it. Here's some stop signs. That's good enough.
Oh yeah.
And and it's not like it's a little road that only the local people drive on. That's that's part of 52. That's a well-known stretch there. So
guys, we do got some sombering news for the folks at home. We will not be doing crunch time this week. We will start it up next week so we can start it on our regular Thursday nights. David asked that we start it a week later. He said that way he can prepare for his game where he plays on Thursday night this week. And so we will take and start crunch time next week. So we're going to talk a little more football than we normally would here on the Startup Morning Show. We're going to talk football, but we're going to go a little more in depth than we normally will on the show. But as we get started, August 27th, August 27th, JJ, big time, big day here on August 27th. I want to know what you got for this day in history.
I got about 4 items for you for this day in history, and the first one's going to be the year 1859, where Edwin Drake struck oil while drilling in Titusville, Pennsylvania, becoming the first driller of a productive oil well in the United States.
Okay.
That's a significant moment in history. Now we're going to go, the next one's going to be the year 1955, where the first Guinness Book of World Records was actually published.
There we go.
Yeah.
And the Guinness Book of World Records is one of my favorite reads as a kid.
Yeah,
I wanted to see what I thought I could be.
Oh, I was always that person too, because there's thousands of records in there, and I mean there are records that are easily attainable as well. We got the year 1964, which the musical film Mary Poppins, an adaptation of P.L. Travers' book, had its world premiere in Los Angeles and became a Disney classic.
I remember watching it many times with my little sister as a kid.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, I've got one last one, which is this one's going to be your favorite moment in history. The year was 2008, where Democratic politician Barack Obama became the first African American to be nominated for the presidency of the United States.
That is not my favorite moment in history,
You sure?
JJ.
I thought you was a diehard Obama fan.
No, I am not a. Well, listen, one prop I will give to Obama, guys. To me, he was the most relatable president, but as far as if you listen to him speak, like he spoke very well, and he made sure that he clarified it to where normal people could understand what he was saying.
Yeah, I would say he's arguably the best speaker in here.
I'll say this about Obama. I didn't always agree with his policies, but he also seemed like the kind of guy though who you could just hang out with.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely, he was very relatable, and I liked that he was a basketball fan. I was big on that. I always waited to see who he picked for March Madness. So definitely, albeit, I'm not the one that's ever going to take up for Obama, but at the end of the day, I do think he was a solid speaker.
Yeah. A lefty, a good shooter on the court too.
I wouldn't go that far. So as I got this day in history, what arguably the best country album in history, No Fences. The Garth Brooks No Fences album was released this day in history, and it included hits like Friends in Low Places, Unanswered Prayers, Thunder Rose, Two of a Kind, Working on a Full House, Wild Horses. I mean, it one of the best country albums, if not the best of all time.
Jesus,
released on this day.
Isn't he like one of the biggest selling country music stars ever?
Yep,
one of the biggest selling artists ever. This will shock you to know, Darryl, but I have that album.
Yeah, do you?
Listen, I like Garth Brooks.
I love Garth Brooks, man. And that album was a big part of my childhood. Did not know it was August 27th. But JJ, today, let's tell us what birthdays we got.
We got a couple of birthdays. The first one we're going to go with Lyndon B. Johnson, former president. The Great Khali, which is a WWE wrestler. I don't know if you're familiar with his work.
Gigantic man.
Big dude. We got Aaron Paul.
Yep.
From Breaking Bad. We've got the rapper Rod Wave, one of the very few that you said you actually like.
I can dig some Rod Wave.
Yeah. And I got one last one for you. Paul Rubens, also known as Pee Wee Herman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
His birthday today as well.
So Pee Wee Herman.
The late great Pee Wee Herman.
You what?
I said the late great Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's look at my birthdays here on Facebook. Justin Keithley, happy birthday. Corey Flincham, there we go. The former Wolf County star. Julius Clancy, Logan County star.
Oh, wow.
Stacy Walters Wright, one of our sponsors. Big shout out to Stacy. McCaden Maynard, former Belfry Pirate, the basketball player. David Hatfield, Ian Blackburn, and Nick Varney. Happy birthday, guys.
Man, that's a heck of a list.
Yep. So, guys, as we get started, listen. Last night it's been a rough week. We didn't have the show yesterday. And, well, I tell you what, we're running against the clock here. No, we got 6 minutes. So, this weekend I went to Tennessee. All right, didn't get back till 1 o'clock on Sunday night. All right, when I got back, realized that some of our equipment that we needed for the show, because the guys went and done OPB Swish game, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. But they went and done it, so some of the equipment I needed wasn't here. So we didn't do the show yesterday. And I hate doing that because Mondays is a big day for you guys at home because we know you guys want to get started and want to talk about the weekend. So we do apologize for that. Well, then last night, I ended up going to cover a volleyball game at Floyd Central. And I tell you what, Floyd Central, one of the most heartwarming moments I've seen in sports, they honored their coach, Karen Durham. She in April, guys, Coach Durham ended up finding out that she was nauseated, and she was dizzy and had headaches. So she went to the hospital at PMC. Well, they couldn't figure out what was wrong with her, so they sent her to UK. Well, come to find out, she had a tumor on her brain. And so she's been going through radiation since April. Found out in April. She finished her last radiation treatment August the 13th. And she's on the sideline coaching these girls.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, miraculous, just heartwarming to see all them players there. Shelby Valley was very respectful, honored her. I mean, the Shelby Valley players was in tears by what they was seeing there.
That's a heck of a story.
Yeah, it was very, very tough situation there last night, and then the game was outstanding. It went back and forth. Floyd Central won the first set, then Shelby Valley ran 3 sets in a row off to win it. So they won 3 sets to 1 in 4 sets. But I tell you, whenever you sit there and look at that game, I did not realize the talent on both sides of the ball. I mean, Floyd Central, you got Layla Peterson, you got the Sloan Akers, you got the Chloe Howard, just all up and down the roster. And I know I'm leaving a ton. Then over on Shelby Valley, listen, their libero, Micaiah Price, was outstanding. She had a phenomenal game. Then you had the Miley Riddle played outstanding. Hannah Steffi, big plays on both sides of the ball for all players. Them was 2 really good teams. Shelby Valley improved to 2-1 on the season. Floyd Central, they dropped to 0-4. But when you look at the 4 losses, I think most people would lose to them 4. You had Pikeville. Let's see, who was it? Was it Pikeville, Johnson Central, and Not Central? 3 of the powers.
Yeah.
And so I really think Coach Durham and this Floyd Central team is going to be outstanding. But that was a big notch in the belt for Shelby Valley to get that big win with the new coach, Brianne McCoy.
Absolutely.
So congrats there. Great game. I highly suggest everybody go and watch it on the D&D Sports Network. As we're sitting here watching, JJ is wanting me to read comments. He keeps hitting the button, so I'm gonna read them for him, Bradley.
I always like to keep the audience engaged.
Says, "What's up? We're on day 12 of our strike, and no end in sight."
Now, that was something we were talking about the other day.
Yeah, the AT&T strike. We was talking about one of our favorite viewers is on the picket lines, Jason Blair, and I was telling you. Jason, I don't think that, what they're striking about, he was getting hours and, I think pay and, he was somewhat happy. But at the end of the day, he's a union guy. And,
he's a team player.
Yeah, that's it. And, so, he's got to, represent and, take up for the people that he works with, and, whatever they're fighting for, he's got to get on board. And, so right now, tough situation, and families ain't getting checks coming in. So, prayers going out to them, and we hope that this gets resolved sooner than later because AT&T is a big part of America.
Absolutely.
So, hopefully that gets fixed for you. Cross Taylor said, brick shot at 6:30, Darryl. Cross, sadly, I will not be there today. Guys, I want to tell you, I'm a little excited today.
What do you got planned?
Today is my daughter's first basketball game ever.
What?
Yes.
Really?
So very excited to see what Miss Aubrey does on the hardwood.
Uh-oh.
She's a work in progress. She's starting late. She's never played basketball in her life. I took her to one camp and she hated it. And so we never did really fool with her with it. Well, she come and the other day, when school started, she come home and she said, listen, she said, I did something without asking y'all's permission. And I was like, what'd you do, Aubrey? And she said, I went and signed up for basketball. And she said, they asked over the intercom and I went and signed up. So she's been ever since then working on her game, and he, it's a situation where, like I'm very excited, but with her, like with my son, I know he's good, so I ain't got to worry as much with her. I got to teach the game from start to finish with her, and so I'm a little nervous on seeing how she plays because I've not seen any practices. I've not watched her even shoot. We don't have a basketball go at our new house here, so I've not even watched her shoot. So I'm a little nervous, but very excited for her first game, guys.
She's going to be a natural.
Yeah, it's in Warfield. So as we're got to go to a quick commercial break, when we come back, we're going to talk a load of football. We got Jared McCormick joining us at 9:15, and we're going to talk a lot of football from the weekend, and we're going to see some highlights from some Mountain Boys at the Tennessee Wesleyan camp. Make sure you guys come right back and join us. We got a load of topics that will interest you guys. Come right back and join us here on the Startup Morning Show with JJ Pruitt and Bradley Dameron.
Bruce Walters Kia. By now, you know Kia's a great vehicle, and you know they come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. So why should you buy from Bruce Walters Kia? At Bruce Walters Kia, we're going to change your oil for free for life. And what you do with that money you save is up to you. Come check out the 2022 Kia Carnival and the 2021 Kia Sorento. Only at Bruce Walters Kia in Pikeville. Or shop us online at brucewalterskia.com.
Award-winning tire shop that focuses on customer service that's family-owned and family-operated. Stop by and see our friends Jeremy and Chasta at Punk's Tires. If you have a hectic work schedule and you're looking for a non-stressful, convenient way to buy tires, take advantage of Punk's Tires Appointment Saturdays. If they don't have the tire you're looking for, they guarantee it to have it the next day. Punk's Tires can take care of all your needs in tires, wheels, wheel alignments, brakes, rotors, minor mechanic work, and more. They'll treat you like family from the second you walk through the door. Come see us in Virgie, Kentucky, or give us a call at 606-639-TIRE. That's 606-639-TIRE. And we are back here on the Startup Morning Show. JJ Pruitt, Darryl McCoy, and Bradley Dameron from the main streets of Marbone Creek, Kermit, West Virginia. Guys, as we get started here, we want to thank Punk's Tires for sponsoring this segment. Punk's Tires is your go-to tire shop for all your tire care needs. And JJ sporting a Punk's Tire gear this morning, Bradley. Oh, and he did message me. I forgot to message you. My fault. And wants to know your size. So make sure you send it over to me so I can get it to him. He
said, "Gotta have my fat boy sizes, Darryl."
Well, I'm sure they're watching. So go ahead and tell us what size you wear.
3 or 4X. Listen, I like it roomy, and I'm not a small dude. So
a 4X.
He's an extra medium.
There we go. So that's medium. Cross Taylor says, "Don't worry, I'll take it to the young. I'll kill the young guys." Well, I hope you do, Cross. Take it to them. I'm very excited to see Cross Taylor on that Belfry coaching staff because what he endured and how he represented himself as a player. That's what them players need. My son, I don't worry as much if them players will listen to Cross. But on the team, a lot of them's got to learn. To be gritty, to be hard-nosed, and that's where Cross can come in because that young man led the state in charges his senior year. I mean, really? Yeah, so I'm really excited, and I love watching Cross. So I hate being there, not watching my son, but Cross, I anytime I can watch Cross, I want to watch him play because the kid plays the game the right way.
Where did Cross play his ball at?
Belfry.
Oh, he did? What year did he graduate?
2020.
Oh wow.
The Cross, he'll let us know. as we're getting started, guys, spent my weekend, and we're going to talk a lot of football, so I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way. Spent my weekend at Tennessee Wesleyan, where a slew of mountain kids come and showed out. You know, you had players, you had Dalton Combs from Hazard, Peyton Davis from Martin County, Clay Robertson from Spring Valley, Saki Sefa and Jake Sloan from Wesley Christian. Then you had Jackson Estridge, Brody Little, Zaid Rash, and Carter Jude from Belfry. So you had nine mountain kids there. And, you know, there was probably six of the nine was probably six of the best kids there. The you know, and even the other three played well, you know, but it was the mountains was well represented there. An eighth of the camp was mountain kids. There was 24 kids. 8 of them was from, or 9 was, so more than a third of the kids was from the mountains. So big show in there at Tennessee Wesleyan. No surprise, Coach Randy Casey runs a top-notch program there, and he's got Coach Jaron Tall, who's got a lot of connections here in the mountains. So no surprise that, you know, the mountains have become a hotbed for Tennessee Wesleyan. Absolutely. So let's take a look at some of the highlights from the camp. I mean, just a great showing from all the mountain kids, guys. When you sit there and look, you know, just a great day of hoops. And I hope some of these mountain kids go down and play for Coach Casey, because I played for him, and he's a hard-nosed coach, but you got to be able to take tough coaching if you're going to play for Randy Casey.
Absolutely. And, you know, I was very impressed with everybody's performances as well. But I got a question for you. I mean, how would you personally rank them, and who do you think had the best showing?
That's tough, JJ.
Well, I mean, it's a tough question, but you've never shied away from tough questions. So.
I think the kid I was most impressed with down there was Dalton Combs from Hazard. Kid played phenomenal. Both ends of the floor, shot the ball well, scored on 3 levels. Dalton Combs, I think, had the best performance. Second, it would probably depend on what you're looking for. I think, you know, I think probably the 2 most complete players there was Jackson Estridge and Peyton Davis. I think the best offensive player was Zaid Rash. Zaid was clicking, you know, like he normally is. if you ask me to rank them, I'd probably go Dalton Combs. Then I know I'm gonna give you a political answer here, but then at second place, I'm probably gonna go Jackson Estridge, Peyton Davis, and Zaid Rash all tied for second. I think they're second, third, and fourth. And
there you go with the politically correct answers.
Then I think Brody Little. Listen, Brody was sick, and Clay Robertson would probably been the one after it from Spring Valley. He shot the ball outstanding. And then Brody Little still, he had a Jordan performance. He was sick, still put on a good show. You could tell him and Estridge was sick. Both of them come down. They're both going to the doctor today. But so them two, Brody would be the next one. And then I'd probably go Carter Jude, Jake Sloan, and then Saki Sefa.
I think everybody showed out for the
Yeah, they all played outstanding, and it's hard because you put me on the spot, but that's how I would probably, if you had to rank them, and that's our job to rank them, that's probably how I would go with it.
I think you did a solid job.
Yeah. I'm going to say this too with Randy Casey down there, and his ties to the area here, and the conference, because they're in the same conference, as like Pikeville and Union and all that. I expect to see a lot more kids from this area sign down there at Tennessee Wesleyan in the future. So it may not necessarily be one of our local colleges, but it's going to have a pretty big local flavor, I suspect, here in the coming years.
No, you're 100% right, Bradley. There's going to be a lot of kids from the mountains that will end up down there, and I don't know who wouldn't want to be there, and Coach Casey is just a phenomenal coach. Coach Tall does an outstanding job. Definitely want to give all them kids their props because, every one of them kids, on any given day, could play at that level. So, I was tickled to death, put it that way, for how all these boys played.
Absolutely.
Sounds fantastic.
It's like you've always said, I love seeing the kids from the mountains, like just going to these places that are like 5 and 6 hours away and just showing out and just showing everybody what they can do.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Bradley.
No, I was just saying, me, I love small college sports anyway. And I'm really excited to see, Pikeville's their second year in the Appalachian Athletic Conference and stuff. So you got UPike and Union and Tennessee Wesleyan and all that, but this is a conference that I really hadn't paid much attention to until last year, and it's a really solid conference all around. I think a lot of area fans would enjoy watching.
Oh, I agree with you. I think I think they're definitely a really good conference. You also got KCU in that conference.
Yep.
So but big shout out there, guys. Football Friday night happened this weekend, and before we get to that, JJ, we had a lot of games on our radar. Kentucky played West Virginia. They call this week 0 in Kentucky. Uh-huh. And and we do here at D&D Sports Network too, because we always got West Virginia, where we cover West State. We always call this week 0, and so I'm excited just to get it started. We've done Shelby Valley, Letcher Central. Okay, a little rundown of that game. Letcher Central dominated. It was shocking. I was shocked with how much Letcher dominated. They from start to finish. They was the more powerful team. They come out, hit Shelby Valley in the mouth, and as expected, Shelby Valley has the new quarterback, Brady Johnson. It took him about 3 drives to settle down.
Yeah.
Once that kid settled down, that kid was a star. That kid is going to be a superstar for Shelby Valley.
The one thing that I took away from the game is, Shelby Valley, they kept showing flashes of being good. But it's like they would execute a really good drive down the field, and then they executed like 50 or 60 yards down the field and didn't fumble. So a lot of turnovers. Like if they could have minimized the fumbles, and they would have been good to go. They wouldn't have won or anything, but they would have had a much better opportunity to make it more competitive.
And listen, Junior Matthews, he graduates a ton, and everybody says, Letcher every year, they graduated too many. It's going to be a rebuilding year. Well, that rebuilding year never comes for Junior Matthews. He just reloads. And they got a stud quarterback in Gunnar Holbrook coming back from a broke back and played phenomenal that game. He had a couple speedsters on his team. What was the one receiver, David, like the human joystick?
Yeah, that's what you call him.
Yeah,
that was a good nickname.
I'll think of his name here in a second. And then they had a really strong running game as well with Kobe Johnson and Garrett Howard. So, and strong offensive line for Letcher. This Letcher team is very solid. They're going to have a really good season. That Shelby Valley team, I promise you, they got this one out of the way. This is their bad game. The thing is they didn't even involve Jonah Bartley as much as what they did during the preseason. So, they still got a lot to give with Jonah Bartley. If they find him, get him in some open spaces, it could be scary. And when you take a look at, and credit the DBs, they done a fabulous job. Colton Stamper got loose late for Shelby Valley, but, Letcher Central's DBs done a tremendous job. But really nice opening day experience there as they done meet the Cougars up on Pine Mountain. Beautiful facilities. And, the Cougars ended up taking and getting a big dub, JJ.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Bradley, did you get a chance to watch it?
I got a chance to catch some of it. Basically, what I saw, it looked like, Letcher looks like they're here to play this year, man.
Yep.
They're not goofing around over there. And I wasn't surprised that they won. I was surprised at how it seemed like they were just dominant from start to finish. And that wasn't something I expected to see. And but congratulations to them. And they got some things to work on at Shelby Valley now too.
They do, and listen, Tyler Johnson, he's going to be a tremendous coach throughout his career.
Absolutely.
This is year one, game one. With him as the head skipper, Shelby Valley's going to be all right. I promise you that.
Yeah,
they will, and they've got a lot of talent over there.
Yeah.
They'll be fine.
Better to go ahead and get your one loss out the way early in the season, and then go from there.
This is the time of year too, whenever sometimes teams are just a little bit off and a little bit clunky, and especially a new coach's first regular season game. Kids are still getting used to things that way as well.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about one of the biggest upsets that happened over the weekend. Come right back and join us here on the Startup Morning Show.
Are now available at Kentucky Mountain Health Alliance Little Flower Dental Clinic. Same day crowns. No more temporary impressions and wearing temporary crowns. Same day crowns. Now available at Little Flower Dental Clinic. We also offer cleanings, fillings, extractions, root canals, and bridges. Call for an appointment today at 487-9505. We accept most major insurances, Medicare and Medicaid, and even a sliding fee scale. Little Flower Clinic, your medical home in the mountains.
Of Central America, head to Sal's Steakhouse. Sizzle your senses with mouthwatering steaks, juicy burgers, savory chicken, and fall-off-the-bone ribs. Sal's Steakhouse, where your taste buds will thank you. Unleash the flavor at Sal's. Taste tradition, taste the difference.
And we are back here on the Startup Morning Show. JJ Pruitt to my left, Bradley Dameron to my right. I am Darryl McCoy, and this segment is sponsored by Freddie Lewis for Pike County Commissioner for a better Pike County. Vote Freddie Lewis. JJ, you got a chance to say it with Freddie. Anybody I promise you this: you vote for Freddie, you're doing the right thing, because that's a man that wants a better future for Pike County. It's not just the people not just for us, but for our kids and our grandkids. Pike County will be a better place with Freddie Lewis in office.
Absolutely. A terrific human being. And it goes back to what you just said. I mean, all he kept talking about was the future and the next generation and how he wants them to be in a much better place. And I really believe that, if there's one person that can go in there and make a change, I believe it's him.
Yep, I agree 100%. So vote Freddie Lewis, Pike County Commissioner. Guys, as we get started, biggest upset of the weekend happened in Hazard, Kentucky. Hazard, winless, did not win a game last season and ended up laying a 51-20 spanking on Martin County, Bradley.
Yeah, and Darryl, that was a game. That was a very interesting game. There was one guy I think who predicted Hazard to win. Anyway, we won't talk about that too much. But Max Pelfrey showed out in that one. 4 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. And Hazard won that one going away. It was 27-20 at the half, and Hazard scored 24 with 24 unanswered in the second half. And man, I think the Bulldogs, they look like they're back.
Yeah, you knew Hazard wasn't going to be down for long. Hazard is a top 5 program in the mountains.
Did you say they went winless last season?
Yeah.
They didn't win a game.
Nope.
And then did this in the first game of the season.
And then beat Martin County, who is a lot of people's I was wanting to make sure I heard water over top of us, and I knew that the water line's busted right over top of us, and I was like, I
need to get my rain jacket?
Yeah.
We don't want to have a shower during the show, no.
Yeah, but that Martin County too. Martin County is picked as one of the top teams in. A lot of people picked them to win their district. One of the top 2A teams around here. So, as you're sitting there looking, this shocked me. Whenever I looked and seen the score, I thought that it would be close. I thought Hazard would be much improved. But listen, Coach Chandler has done an amazing job with this group. For him to go out and win like that. Now, I would want to, in a losing effort, give a big shout out to one of our favorites here on the show that we've had him on the show. Crayson Bones Lafferty, 16 tackles, 1 sack, forced fumble. Check out some of his highlights.
Please don't get amazed by all these diamonds, get you a plain Jane. Baby, you look like, tell him I want the whole thing. All white on my office, can't take no break, we gon' run this game. I hope that you been holding me down. That money came. Sitting up inside of the court, hoping not to be judged by half of the choices I made. Riding in a double R drinking my cup, into just aim to kill all my pain. I'm running with killers, I'm with them, you dissing and know to reclaim. Came from the bottom, ran it up and I ain't trying to tell her, all them. Ran up like a science film. Got 100 different ways for the earrings. Tryna stay on it, my mind been. Did a job be where my time went. Got a brand new piece that shines. Got a brand new piece that shines. 100,000 side of my means. Dirty money spent on Prada, I ain't Prada. Clean lean, make a dead about it. Solitaires laying around the collar. In the streets, you just another body. Casket real bright, but it's dark in it. Future real bright, but it's war in it. Real born killers that was taught in it. Thinking about giving my Maybach up. Starting to feel too regular. Yeah, I'm walking with that fentanyl. Get all around, we stretching. Hating that ain't keeping up. I ain't spending nothing, still flexing. Still around that foreign car. Play that big mansion. Please don't get amazed by all these diamonds, get you a plain Jane. Baby, you look like, tell him I want the whole thing. All white on my office, can't take no break, we gon' run this game. I hope that you been holding me down. That money came. Say you won't chill, so I'll let you come kick. Got 100 different ways for the earrings. Tryna stay on it, my mind been. Did a job be where my time went. Got a brand new piece that shines. 100,000 side of my means. Dirty money spent on Prada, I ain't Prada. Clean lean, make a dead about it. Solitaires laying around the collar. In the streets, you just another body. Casket real bright, but it's dark in it. Future real bright, but it's war in it. Real born killers that was taught.
Well, that and you can tell them videos are shot by a Huddle camera. That's why I always say, guys, listen, when Huddle comes to your school and tries to sell you, I promise you it's not what it's cut out to be. But at the end of the day, Bones Grayson Lafferty, this kid is a freak of nature, dude. I mean, and no surprise, he led single A in tackles last year. He starts off with 16 tackles this year. You know, the kid puts in the work off the field. That's why he performs like he does on the field. Big shout out to that young man. Huge game for him.
16 tackles. How many games have they played?
Yeah, one.
16 tackles in one game?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Big shout out there.
That is impressive.
And you know, Darryl, I'm just gonna say this. This is my own personal preference, but listen, man, you're running up and hitting people. You know, get some like Metallica or something. For whom the bell tolls, bam. You know, you're hitting people. We're not. You know, this is Painkiller. You know, put that to Painkiller by Judas Priest. Totally different vibe too.
Bradley wanting some new music on the highlights.
I'm just saying. I'm just giving some helpful hints to give it that extra impact.
I couldn't understand a word that artist was saying.
Me either. It's probably some OT7 Quantity or whatever.
I don't speak mumble.
Yeah. So Bradley, you got to check in on the Belfry-Breathitt County game. 56-26 victory. Belfry goes to 11-9 in the career series there. It was 100 years of football. Great moment before the game. They brought all players, 100 years of players they brought out and honored them before the ball game. Bradley, in that game right there, who was the standouts?
Well, Darryl, that was one where I want to say that
Ace Cottle.
Ace Cottle was phenomenal in that one. I'm pulling.
He had 3 TDs, I think. I think Ace had 3 TDs. I think JB Woolen scored a receiving TD. Chase Varney done a really good job. And
trying to pull up my story. I'll be honest with you. I remember Ace Cottle and Chase Varney had a couple of touchdowns. He had at least one passing one. I know he had a rushing one as well. He got the scoring with a rushing touchdown. Here we go. Varney had 90 yards passing and a touchdown, and 60 yards rushing and a touchdown. But then Ace Cottle, he had 2 touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, but he caught 2 passes for 46 yards. He had Austin with 58 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then Woolham had 47 yards rushing, and he had 32 receiving, and he had the receiving touchdown for Belfry. So really, it was a game where Breathitt held with them for a bit. Just opening up, it was kind of back and forth. And really, Belfry, the difference was Belfry was converting their PATs, and Breathitt wasn't at first. And then just Belfry's line took over, and they won that one going away. Breathitt kind of got a late touchdown at the end or in the fourth quarter, but it made it look even a little closer than it really was, to be honest with you. So
we'll go a little more in depth into that game when Jared comes on, because I'd say it's probably where he was at on Friday night.
Jared was there.
Yeah. So we'll talk a little more in depth. We got some comments to read here, guys. A lot of comments coming in. Jimmy Johnson says, y'all were absent yesterday. There will be no per attendees this school year. As we do apologize, Jimmy. I told you the situation. We, got in late that night. Equipment, didn't have all the equipment here. So we had to take yesterday off. So we're here for you today. And we do apologize, Jimmy. And he said, I missed you guys. Well, we missed you, Jimmy, for sure yesterday. And, whenever we said we wasn't going to have any show, we said, man, we don't know what Whitey Little and Jimmy Johnson's going to do. So, we was worried about you guys. Mike Mullins says in that Letcher Shelby Valley game that Brady Johnson was 23 of 34 passing for 305 yards, 1 TD. He had 8 carries, 71 yards, with LCC bringing the house every snap. I agree. I think Brady, one of the things that I think Brady needs to do is showcase more of his passing. I thought he looked to run, a lot. But, if that line does its job and he can sit back there in that pocket, that kid has an arm like no other. He's going to be very dangerous. I promise you, defensive coordinators are not going to want to play him week in, week out. The guys, good news coming. McDonald's is keeping their breakfast open now till 11:30. Does it excite you guys?
Well, for me personally, I mean, I'm the type of person that can do a chicken sandwich any time of the morning, any time of the day. So, I mean, I can imagine a lot of other people being excited. I mean,
what about you, Bradley? You a McDonald's breakfast guy?
Well, it depends. Is there a Tudor's around?
Well,
when I think
McDonald's is the good cheap breakfast place.
When I think of this, I think of the movie Big Daddy with Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Can somebody get this kid? You remember when he was it Big Daddy where he was trying to get his kid breakfast and he ended up being too late for it?
Well, I myself am very excited for this because, my breakfast go-to is either a McDonald's bacon, egg, and cheese bagel or a egg McMuffin. And, and I can't never get it because we do the show till 10 o'clock when we get out of here. Breakfast is done. So big shout out to McDonald's, making it a better place by extending breakfast till 11:30.
So
Darryl, you can there's the cheap sausage cheese McMuffin without the egg on it too on their value menu. That's always been one of my go-tos at McDonald's.
What sausage and cheese?
Yeah, there's no egg on it, but it's like they're, I don't know, nothing's a dollar menu anymore, but it's like the on the cheaper side of it. So that's when you have like $3 in your pocket and you need a sandwich.
Jimmy Johnson says they're just doing that so we can all have time to go to the nearest bank and take out a loan to afford McDonald's pricey breakfast menu.
Well, we do know
Jimmy, I just gave you a budget option. You gotta look for the deals.
Well, and Jimmy, if you do need a loan, make sure you go to Logan Bank and Trust for all your loan needs, because Logan Bank and Trust right now, guys, they I promise you, they make the process easy, and they were almost guaranteed loans. If you're available for them, they'll make sure that they put the process through for you.
Absolutely.
So big shout out to the Logan Bank and Trust. Let's see, steak bagel with cheese and goated, Gideon Jarvis says. So Gideon, very excited to see Gideon this Thursday night up on Minor Mountain. But guys, check out this story coming out of Pike County. This is Josh Farrell's TikTok page. So he's going to explain the story to us, and I want to get your thoughts on this.
Out that it is in fact illegal to marry your first cousin. As you can see up above, here's the Kentucky Code, which outlaws such crime and attempts to prohibit people from entering into such relationships, which apparently does not always work. In the warrant for arrest, which was filed in Pike County, the troopers alleged that they received a tip of the couple marrying, despite the fact that they were cousins, and they investigated, found out that it was in fact true, and have now charged the couple. Currently, the charge carries up to 90 days in jail if convicted, and if convicted, the marriage would be deemed void. However, this is an enhanceable offense. If they are convicted and then continue to try to continue their relationship, they could face up to 1 year.
Bradley, does that law affect you any?
It does not. I mean, I didn't know that Kentucky, Pike County became Alabama there, but
Amy Dalton and George Sweeney of Pike County was found that they married each other, and now the marriage, was illegal because it found out that they was cousins. Incest is illegal in Kentucky, and
what?
Yes.
It didn't just say cousins, Darryl. It said first cousins.
Yeah, first cousins. You did not know that, JJ.
I mean,
you think incest is okay?
No, absolutely not. But I figured of all places to where it would be illegal would be Kentucky.
You know what?
I hate to put it that way, but isn't Kentucky notoriously known for
What incest?
Yeah.
Well, I listen. Albeit, I'll take up for the Kentucky people. Listen, I'm gonna push that over on the West Virginia.
I know a couple places in West Virginia as well. But
have you not seen the Wild and Wonderful Whites, or what's that family that's on YouTube?
Jesus, that one family.
I can't remember their names. That the guy from California takes care of. But they, and also the Hills Have Eyes was based in West Virginia.
That was Wrong Turn, wasn't it?
Wrong Turn, yeah. So
Wrong Turn. Yeah, not the Hills Have Eyes. Yeah.
I sound disappointed. And I'm just shocked because I've
JJ's got a cousin. He's got an eye on.
I've always heard that though. Like Kentucky is bad for that. So to hear that is just surprising.
I mean, I've heard of situations where they're like fifth cousins, twice removed, and you're like, well. Not that bad, but then you hear about people with first cousins. I'm like, you all are sharing aunts and uncles here. I mean,
well, and that's I've known
uncle father-in-law there. That's
I was at the local hub. I was over here at the Teardrop Inn, and all of a sudden. Stephanie come in, and I had a few beers in me, and well, I was sitting there counting, fourth, fifth cousins. That's okay, right? That's fifth cousin. We don't even really know each other.
It's you're still blood.
But let me ask you this: how far down the line do you go before it's not illegal? That's what I want to know. Because I'm sure if you broke the family trees down, everybody's can, especially in our area.
If you're a religious person, according to the Bible, everybody's
brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
But when you sit there and look, how far down the line? First cousins, second cousins, third cousins. I don't know what the law is, but I would say that it probably at least goes back to third cousins.
I don't know what the law is, but I'll tell you this: if they're showing up at the family reunion,
yes,
there's a no go. There's other no goes too, but that is a definite. If I'm seeing them at my Christmas party, family Christmas party every year, and our family cookouts on the 4th of July and stuff, nah, that's okay. That's okay. You, good luck to you, cousin. That's how I'll say.
Waddy Little said, JJ, you better keep your mouth shut. Listen, JJ, this weekend, Bradley, he had a moment at the ball game. It was JJ's first ever ball game. So, JJ, how did you have fun?
It was a terrific experience. I mean, I kind of wish that my microphone would have worked, my headset. Yeah. But apart from that, I loved every single minute of it. I mean, there's nothing like Friday Night Lights.
Yeah,
in all honesty.
Well, it's very exciting. Friday nights, it's the show. And, when you're there, when D&D is there, we're normally the biggest media outlet unless WYMT's there, Mm-hmm. So I love being there. Letcher treats us like family every single time. Yeah, they're amazing there. But, Brad, JJ, he stuck his foot in his mouth. I said, JJ, I said, he's like, he's like, this game's getting out of hand. I said, nah. I said, it ain't over yet. I said, Shelby Valley's got a chance. The fat lady ain't sung. And JJ said, leave my wife out of this. And I said, JJ, I said, you're gonna go home and you're gonna get in trouble, JJ. And
I love that.
And
what made it even worse was y'all gave me the one headset where I couldn't say a single word.
I mean, I could not believe he said that on air, Bradley. Now,
listen, I'm going to say this. I've learned two things in life. Don't ever predict against your neighbors because you got to live with these people, and never say anything about your spouse on the air other than, boy, I love you, honey. You're the best. You can say that. Outside of that, it gets dicey.
Well, yeah. very, very tough situation there. And I've tried to teach JJ, listen, those ladies, man, you got to be on cue with them, because your life can be miserable, if you say something like that. But he didn't care. He said it anyways.
Need a headset next time.
They
you gotta have that filter. You gotta have that filter that goes like,
threw me under
that's it.
Is this worth the beating I'm going to take when I get home?
Yeah, that's what you got to figure out, JJ.
You
so
which headset was
Knott
that.
Central 48-0 win over Jenkins. I'm not happy. Listen, at the end of the day, our friends at Jenkins were very close too, so I'm not saying I'm happy for that, but I'm happy for Knott Central. They've been through so much with the floods, with the deaths. I mean, they've had 2 or 3 students that's passed away, a couple football players in the last calendar year. And, now they got that new turf up there at new stadium, and they ended up getting to break it in a big way with a 48-0 win over Jenkins. Guys, couldn't be more happy for them.
Absolutely. I mean, after all the stuff that they've had to go through to finally have something, positive to dwell on. I mean, that's terrific.
Yeah, they got to break that new field in with a win, so it's always good when you can do that, right, Bradley?
Absolutely. And Darryl, you can be very happy for one school, even if you wish better, have for better things for the other school as well. So yeah, nothing against our friends at Jenkins who we really love working with. But it was really good to see Knott Central get that win and get things going in the right direction.
All right, guys. Another one, Bradley can look at stats up here. Another upset. Prestonsburg goes to Leslie County, gets the 22-19 victory over Leslie County in one of the most controversial endings that I've seen in a long time. I wish I'll try to think who sent the video, but there was a lot of videos out there where it was questionable. A lot of people said the Prestonsburg guy's knee was down on a play. He basically spun around. It looked like to me it was clearly down. And you can go to our friend Adrenaline King's page and check this video out. Go to Adrenaline King on Facebook, Adrenaline King, and he's got a really good video, really good view of it. And he was clearly down to me. And I don't know what the rules stated, but the officials definitely botched this. I at the end of the day, I'm a Prestonsburg guy, but I still say they got the wrong call here. And bad part about it is they missed the call earlier where there was a pass interference, but still we told everybody about Landry Collette, Noah Kilburn. They still connected on a big time play. This Prestonsburg team, they have you can tell, that right there was dangerous, because now it's giving Prestonsburg confidence, knowing that you beat a team like Leslie County on their home turf, and now moving forward, they're going to have an opportunity to win some games that a lot of people thought they wouldn't, just because of the confidence that they got from this game right here.
Absolutely.
Bradley, what was the rundown on the stats?
Well, I didn't get final stats, but I got some of the bigger plays.
All right.
At least by that point. Of course, Prestonsburg, they had the first one, Alex Harris. There's a lot of big plays in this one, Darryl. Alex Harris had a 76-yard run pretty much right off the bat for Prestonsburg. But then you mentioned Landry Collette and Noah Kilburn. There was a little screen pass out to the left where Kilburn basically took it and he went 41 yards. He kind of weaved through traffic there and, really showed off his athleticism there and speed. And then, of course, later in the game, you had Collette hooked up with Jaden Hacker on a 62-yard bomb, and it was about as well of a thrown pass as you'll ever see. Deep down the sideline, caught on the dead run, gone. There were, and then Collette also scored on a run on a little about a 6-yard touchdown run. But I tell you, when you look at Dalton Elliott's touchdown there at the end, the unfortunate thing is, I think that if Leslie County's players had, they're kind of a danged if they do, danged if they didn't situation there on defense. Because if they had went in there to finish it off, they could have finished him off, and he probably wouldn't have scored on that play.
Yeah.
They kind of stopped because they thought he was down, and he looks like he probably was down.
There wasn't no probably, Bradley. He was down.
Yeah, the officials, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt, but the officials kind of, I think they missed that one. But then on the flip side, if they had ruled him down and someone had come there and finished him off, then you get a personal foul. So really tough situation there for Leslie County. At the same time, though, listen, give Dalton Elliott credit there because you don't stop playing until the whistle blows. And it's not his fault and not his problem that the referee didn't blow the whistle. And he fought and got in the end zone and took advantage of the situation. You always play till that whistle blows.
Listen, at the end of the day, we're taught that from Pee-wee up. You play to the final whistle, and if your coaches don't teach you that, then shame on you. But at the end of the day, I think the boys was so excited. I think they knew that he was down, and credit Dalton Elliott for running through, because if he would have stayed right there, then this would have never happened. So credit him. Let's take a look at the play right here.
Oh, you got the play?
Yeah.
See, I think it's more.
JJ's wanting to see it one more time here. Let's check it out again.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like to me his knee and his elbow touched the ground.
I'm not sure if his knee did or not, Darryl. That's still hard for me to see, but his elbow is clearly down.
So what is the rule?
His right elbow is clearly on the turf.
Yeah. I mean, it's clear, So the rule, I think the runner is down if the elbow touches the ground.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, I'm like Jimmy Johnson. He said he doesn't think the knee touched. He thinks of the elbow and forearm. I didn't really see the knee either. I saw him roll around, and the knee might have touched, but it's hard to see. But you can definitely see.
Look at the beginning of the tackle here and see what you think at the beginning.
Yeah, I don't see the knee there, Darryl.
Yeah, at third glance there, I don't think the knee was down either.
And what rules in the NFL that would have been a touchdown most likely, wouldn't it?
No, I mean the elbow was down, so it would have been down. I think
the knee.
No, if you touch the elbow, I mean, the knee is what everybody focuses on because that's normally what hits first, but the elbow is the same as the knee.
Yeah, and Gideon Jarvis brings up a really good point here. Gideon, I kind of agree. He down here, like where it says elbow 100%, I don't know about knee, and I wonder if the official wasn't looking for the knee, and that's probably true. That's probably why it was missed, because the official is
he's
staring for the knee. And it would be a little bit harder too, because if you look at where the official's located and it's the right elbow, it's kind of outside the outside elbow. So even the player's body is kind of shielding the official. So I'm going to take up a little bit with the official. The human eyes can't see through other people.
Now look how fast that the play is going.
Yeah.
Also, so that's a tough one though. That's a tough one for the officials missing, tough one for Leslie.
Keep your comments coming. We'll read them when we come back. When we come back from break, hopefully we'll have Wimpson Daily News sports writer Jared McCormick joining us. And guys, make sure you come back and join us. Still got a lot of football to talk about. So come right back and join us here on the Startup Morning Show. JJ Pruitt and Darryl McCoy. Award-winning tire shop that focuses on customer service that's family-owned and family-operated. Stop by and see our friends Jeremy and Chasta at Punk's Tires. If you have a hectic work schedule and you're looking for a non-stressful, convenient way to buy tires, take advantage of Punk's Tires Appointment Saturdays. If they don't have the tire you're looking for, they guarantee it to have it the next day. Punk's Tires can take care of all your needs in tires, wheels, wheel alignments, brakes, rotors, minor mechanic work, and more. They'll treat you like family from the second you walk through the door. Come see us in Virgie, Kentucky, or give us a call at 606-639-TIRE. That's 606-639-TIRE.
Wear a lot of hats. There are coaches, volunteers, church members, neighbors, someone who's there when you need them, especially when you need them most. That may be a lot of hats, but they're all the perfect fit. Kentucky Farm Bureau, big on commitment.
We're back here on the Startup Morning Show. JJ Pruitt to my left, Bradley Dameron to my right, and none other than Jared McCormick, head sports writer for the Wimpson Daily News. Thanks for joining us, Jared.
Hey, thanks for having us, guys. What's going on?
Not much. Jared's usually here, guys, on Mondays, but we did not have the show yesterday, so Jared rearranged the schedule to gladly join us today.
Absolutely.
And Jared, did you get to see that play we were just talking about?
Yeah, I was watching that. I definitely think his elbow was down there, and he was as a missed call. But like Gideon, I would probably agree with Gideon there. The referee was looking for the knee. That's maybe a time when maybe a referee from another part of the field needs to come in and say, hey, I seen the elbow hit. When they can get together and discuss that big of a play, either way, somebody was going to be upset on that call.
It's a tough one to make for the officials there. And, you see NFL officials, miss calls like that. But they have instant replay to help back them up.
Right. That's one that would have been reviewed. Yeah.
Yeah. But you don't have that at the high school level. So you just got to learn to live with it and move on.
Exactly. Yeah. Missed calls happen. That's the human element of the game.
My way of thinking is, what if that would have been a playoff game?
Yeah.
That's a perfect example of me wondering, if there should be a replay system. I personally think there should be. Like I said, that could have been first round of the playoffs. A pivotal game.
Myself, I like the human element in sports. I get it. You want to get the call right. You don't want to cheat the kids. You don't. But, a lot of the controversial moments and a lot of the topics that have, is because of stuff like this. And, at the high school level, I just don't think that, you're really capable because you got to have manpower, equipment, and all that. So I don't know whether it's even close, to where you could have a replay system in high school.
Yeah, you've got to be able to have something where you can pull it up right then and have multiple angles.
Now, there's so many nowadays. There's so many media covering. Now, the games that media is at, you might could put an official in the booth with them and being like, let's replay that. Let's look at that. But then we know how the business goes. You got to be lucky enough to catch it on replay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, the first angle, the first one that you saw, you couldn't tell. Is inconclusive, and it's not like you can go to everyone in the stands and be like, "Did you get a better angle at that? Did you get a better angle?" You can't stop the game.
Anything. That's like Gideon Jarvis to say, while he is for especially in the playoffs, like it should be at least in the playoffs. I mean, regular season I understand, but when it comes time for the playoffs and you're making a run for the state championship and there's a pivotal game, I mean, have something in play. That way we make sure we get it right.
Yeah, in playoffs, you could definitely do that, Jared, right? Because 99% of the playoff games, well, I don't know, there is some that isn't streamed, so.
Yeah, I mean, I still think the SSAC could put something in place, or the KHSAA, for a playoff game. Maybe, maybe if it's even quarterfinals and on, or those bigger games, you'd hate to see something like that missed and maybe cost somebody a chance at a state title. But it is what it is, like Bradley said. So good ball game there. As a coach, you obviously the play affected the outcome of the game, but you would want to tell your kids, not that one play didn't decide the game. You could go back and look at some other plays maybe we could have done differently, and maybe we wouldn't have had to rely on that call.
Yeah, well, like I said earlier too, they played through the whistle. Then
Well, Jimmy Johnson says, hold up, said, we think that maybe we can have instant replay challenges, but no shot clock in high school basketball. Well, at the end of the day, that's not, a shot clock. The high school is having to pay for the shot clock and having to pay for the extra person running it. To where instant replay, it would be on the governing body. You more than likely you would have to. Well, I don't know. The high school pays the officials, so I guess it's. But myself, I don't think that there would be as much into it, especially ones where you have media companies there. I think if a media company is there, maybe have a situation to where maybe the coaching staff can check with the media company. Hey, did you get that on replay? And then, maybe check and see. I don't know what the perfect answer is, but, it happens. That's what I can say.
I'll just say this. You have colleges like, Division II and lower. It's not, instant replay is not implemented.
No.
So, I mean, and all those games now are streamed, and a lot of them have very, high quality production values, and where you could use it, and still it's up to the individual conferences because it is extra cost, extra staffing, and then something that can be quick, right? You don't want something that's going to slow the game down so much to where it takes them 10 minutes to look at everything. It's got to be something where you can look at it and get it going. But I don't know if we're there yet in West Virginia, and some places, but I don't know if we can do it universally like in the playoffs yet, because I tell you, man, there are still some areas, and I know Jared's probably been to a few there, and you've probably been to a few too, Darryl, where if you go there, there's not going to be any streaming. There's not going to be anything.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to Montcalm, but I have. And I mean, that's a place, like that, just an example.
Well, a lot of places, you don't have internet, you don't have situations like that, but just a tough situation that happened there, and somebody had to win, somebody had to lose, but let's move on to the Pike Central game. Pike Central scored 3 touchdowns in the last 12 to 13 minutes of the game, caused 2 of the 3 turnovers during that span, as well as after being down 14-0 on the road to West Carter. The first timeout kept West Carter from extending the lead to 3 TDs late in the first turnover caused West Carter from extending the lead to 3 TDs late in the third quarter. Good win for the Pike Central Hawks at West Carter. That's a tough place to go up there and get a win, guys. And for him to go up there, a very well-coached team in Daniel Barker, but the new coaching regime at Pike Central, they can put a feather in their cap, because that was a big win for them, especially a week 1 win.
Yeah, I mean, I patted myself on the back earlier about predicting Hazard, but I didn't see this one coming, and I'm really happy for the crew at Pike Central to be able to pull this one off.
Well, 20-14 was the final in that one. Jameer Knuckles, listen, if you haven't seen this young man play, You know, he's big. He's got an arm, and you don't want to. He's kind of like Byron Leftwich, a lot like Byron Leftwich. But Jared, now you was on Pond Creek Friday night, right?
Yep. Yeah, I was there at Haywood Stadium.
Yeah. So that was 100 years of football. You know, tell us what the night was like there, the atmosphere for the 100 years of football with Breathitt County.
I tell you, man, it was really neat. You know, they had a little pregame event up in the cafeteria, gym area there at Belfry. They had all of the former players and coaches and you know, managers together, and they got to mingle and talk, and then come time for game time, man, I got there my normal time. It was about 6:30, a little after maybe, and was expecting to get right into a spot, and it was already packed up there. I had to, you know, park going down the hill back to the gas station, and I said, man, it's going to be a big crowd today. And here about 7:10, I look up, I'm down on the field, the stadium's already packed, and then they call everybody out for tunnel time, and you know how it is at tunnel time at Pond Creek. I mean, the field was flooded, full of young kids, but then the really neat thing was all the former players was in the locker room, listening to Coach Haywood's pregame speech, and you had maybe 200, alumni, just football players that were in there with the team, and they all come out with the team. They led the team onto the field through the blow up pirate, through the tunnel. It was really a neat moment. I mean, you had almost 100-yard tunnel, and the last probably 40 yards was alumni and former players, and I got to see a lot of guys that I covered, and then a lot of guys that I've heard about over the years that were good players for Belfry, and it was really a cool moment for that 100-year reunion, and then the Pirates come out and handled business there. A big tight game in the third quarter. It was 21-18 with 7 minutes to go in the third quarter, or second quarter, excuse me. And the next thing you know, you look up and they rattle off 3 touchdowns in the final 7 minutes of the first half, and they go into the half with a big lead. So it was a fun night on Pond Creek, man. I really wasn't expecting that big of a crowd, and they were loud too. And the Breathitt fans were very passionate, like they always are. It was fun.
How'd Breathitt travel?
They filled up that away side. I mean, they had a solid crowd there, and I can say this. I mean, you're not gonna. They were not happy with some of the calls, but you're not going to get any calls at Haywood Stadium when Coach Haywood's on that sideline. He don't even have to say anything to the officials, and they're going to
respect factor.
Yeah, it's a respect thing, and it is what it is. You got to deal with that and play through it. And some calls went against Belfry too. I'm not saying they're going to get every call, but
Belfry's one of them. It's like Tug Valley in basketball. I always say you got to be you got to be 10 points better than Tug Valley on that night. You got to be 10 to 14 points better than Belfry if you go to Haywood Stadium.
Yeah,
I once heard a high school coach, and I don't want to misquote it. I think it was Mark Hatcher, who once told me that that Tug Valley could beat the Lakers in Naugatuck.
It's a good possibility, because I've seen some really good teams go to Naugatuck and drop games. So tough,
especially in the postseason.
Oh yeah, postseason, you might as well forget it. If Tug Valley, that's why it's so important for Tug Valley to perform well in the regular season to get them home games, in the postseason. But as we're moving on, we know that Ace Cottle, we know Chase Varney, JB Woolham, we know all of them had good nights. But on the defensive ball and anybody on the offensive ball we ain't mentioned that stood out to you for Belfry.
Defensively, as a team, I think they're going to have some good defensive team speed this year. Secondaries maybe a little small, with some of those guys, but they're fast. With you mentioned JB Woolham, and both the Cottle boys, Ace and Eli, yeah, and then Caden Varney's back on the defensive side this year. That's huge. He's got good size.
Good having him back from injury because he's a key to that Pirate defense.
And he's got super, athleticism. Yeah, it's great to see him back. He looked really good. And then, the linebackers played really well. Dante Davis, just a sophomore. That's a name to keep an eye on there at Belfry. He made some plays in the backfield, and he was a full season starter as a freshman. And now here he is, his second year. He's kind of taking that next step, I thought, on that side of the ball. J.J. Austin's the other linebacker. He played well as well. The one thing they got to work on defensively is tackling. They had some missed tackles, and that was a problem last year too. And we'll see if they can correct that going into playing a team like GRC this Friday. But and then offensively, I really like the rotation they're going to have at fullback this year. They're not going to have that one bruising back maybe that you expect when you think Belfry. Dre Young last year, and in the past you can think different guys, Austin Hatfield, or even back before that, Trey Willis, and then Dustin May, some guys like that. But they're not going to have that type of fullback. But they're going to have three guys: Hunter Hilton, Dante Davis, and J.J. Austin was your starting fullback.
I'm trying to think what was the kid's name that was there, I guess probably around 2010 to somewhere between 2008 2014. Mixed kid was a really big back.
Yeah, that was Trey Willis, I think. And then you had Trinity Carr. Was there?
No, Ivan.
Ivan Lee.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ivan.
I grew up with Ivan. Yeah, Ivan was tough. But see, you ask Ivan, he'd tell you he was a running back. but he was he was big. He had the fullback build, but listen, he had he had some speed, and he was tough, man. He's a nurse now, but done really well for himself. But yeah, I grew up playing Little League with Ivan, and he went to Belfry and had a great career there, and was on the team. He didn't win him a title, but he was on the team that went, and they was runner up there.
Well, they and I've told everybody for a minute, listen, Dante Davis, that's the kid you need to keep an eye on, because the people don't realize, his motor makes him a difference. And he's a lot like Crayson Lafferty from Martin County. He's a ball hawk. He's a kid that wherever the action's at, he's at. And I love watching linebackers with that kind of motor and that plays with that kind of intensity. And I tell you, another kid to keep an eye out on. Whitey Little said Andrew Fletcher was another good one.
Yeah, he was tough.
G. Childers,
going back to G, yeah.
But it very tough. I tell you, if this kid, and I don't know, Jared, you might be able to answer this. I know he transferred back to Belfry, but was Isaiah May on the roster?
No.
Okay, well, if that kid gets eligible this year, that's a kid that's got a future at football. I mean, I love watching that kid play too. He's a lot like Dante Davis. Be a big leg up for the Pirates in the future. I hope things get, to where, he can take and get eligible. I know he transferred late back, so, but keep an eye on that kid. But, just hats off. How much did the Pirates throw it?
Yeah, and I'm glad I was wanting to talk about that. I'm glad you asked that, Darryl. Everybody sees Belfry and they think, double tight end, wishbone, triple option, and they still did that. But it seemed like at least 35-40% of the time they got in that little spread formation they've ran the past couple years. If you've watched them any, they ran it almost all game against Bell last year, and and Chase Varney threw it 10 or 11 times. I think he had 90 yards passing and a touchdown. And there were some other passes that were right there that maybe guys dropped, or a couple of them, pass interference was called. or he would have been, over 100 yards easily in his first game. And, I think he's going to be the first 1,000-yard passer this year for Belfry in quite a while. We'd have to go back and look and see who the last quarterback it was to do it. But if Sonny Warren didn't do it when he was quarterback, I'd say you might have to go all the way back to Jonathan Wright and to get a 1,000-yard passer. And that, that's an element. And I talked to Coach Haywood about it after the game. They're trying to become more balanced to, make it tougher on the defense, just simply in terms of preparing. When you got to prepare for a Belfry team that can throw it, that makes it so much harder during the week when you're getting ready to face the Pirates. And, it's going to be interesting to see how, that part of their game develops this year.
Yeah, that's that's going to have a lot of consequences. If they start throwing the ball a little bit more, you're going to be able to get defenses more off balance. And let's say it like it is. The Mountains is known for smash mouth, run up the gut football. 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and one thing that it'll help too is it'll help keep a lot of your best athletes on Pond Creek, because a lot of kids leave because if they're a quarterback or receiver, because they know they're basically going to be a placeholder for the running game. And now that they're passing the ball a little bit more, it's going to get a lot more kids excited and keep a lot of your better athletes on Pond Creek, I think.
Yeah, air raid offense on Pond Creek.
You'll never see that.
I wouldn't call it that, but their bread and butter was still what you'd expect. They looked their best when they was running in, maybe even when they had the double tight ends in. And when it push comes to shove, if they need to go to that, they got that, and they know they can dominate with that, like they have over the years. But like Darryl said, yeah, that goes a long way. And keeping some of those athletes on the outside that that want to get the ball, and keeping them engaged. And they got some weapons, man. Like I said, the team speed this year is pretty impressive there for Belfry.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's one of the smaller teams until you get up front and see the horses. But how'd the line look?
Offensive line looked great. You got guys there that are 3-year starters in Max Dodson and Bo Wolford. Those two. Anytime you're a 3-year starter on the offensive line for Belfry, you can play. And those guys really set the tone. And you got guys like Colton Witt and Braden Markham, who are up there. I think Dusty McCoy got some time. And they, the good thing about Belfry's offensive line this year is they can rotate guys in. They can play about 7 or 8 linemen. And Coach Tackett, Anthony Tackett, assistant coach, line coach, he does a good job rotating them in, keeping them fresh. And it's definitely going to be the strength of their team this year, and they know it. So that's when Belfry has the line like what they have this year, that's usually when they have their best teams.
Well, as we're sitting here, let's move on and see if any of these games piqued y'all's interest any. Fairview gets the upset over Bath County. Very surprising game for me. Brandon Brewer in his first year at Bath County. I thought for sure if you would have asked me to bet money, that would have been one I would have probably put on Bath County. Yeah, then moving on down, Betsy Lane with a spanking on Berea. Big shout out to them going up there. They normally, I'm pretty sure Betsy Lane starts out with Berea most years. And then Boyd County defeats South Point, Ohio. Big win for Boyd County up there. Now this one here, Corbin defeats Pikeville 22-7. Although they won, shocked me that they was able to keep it that close. Did you guys get a chance to see that?
I did, and I think Pikeville hung with them, but just couldn't get over the hump. They had a drive early that kind of stalled. I think they might have even had a turnover, Darryl, if I recall correctly. That could have maybe, kept that game even closer. But I'm telling you, it's for any team in Kentucky, but especially when you get into 1A and stuff, that's going to be a tall task for them to hang with Pikeville.
Well, I just got Letcher County's stats just got sent in to me here. Gunnar Holbrook was 11 for 17, 196 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Oh, wow.
In that win. And on the ground, it was Brett Smith with 4 carries, 115 yards. And then in the passing game, Keaston Branham, 3 receptions, 75 yards, and a TD. But, I don't, that Pikeville team, like people can say what they want. I don't look into this game much, Jared, because at the end of the day, Pikeville's still going to lay a spanking on anybody else in Class A.
Yeah, I mean, just because they lost this game, that doesn't mean anything really in terms of it's just a loss on their win-loss record. I mean, they were playing with house money against a team like Corbin there. If they go in and beat Corbin, it makes shockwaves around the state pretty much. And then, if they lose to them, everybody says, well, they lost to Corbin. What's the big deal? It's a 1A team going and losing to a 4A powerhouse on the road in the first game of the year. And Pikeville, their fans, from what I gathered, they feel like they didn't play very well. They got more that they can bring to the table, got some things that they got to work out, and they're going to be fine. And another test, who would have thought? If you looked at the schedules, you could have foreseen it, but you're going to have JC and Pikeville both coming in looking for a win. One of them's going to be 0-2 after this Saturday, and Johnson Central and Pikeville, and we'll see who's going to come out on top there and get their first win in that matchup. 2 0-1 teams going head to head.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Both of them will be 0-2, and both of them have an opportunity to win their respective class. Pikeville's probably the better opportunity, but we'll put Jared's feet to the fire and get Pike County Bowl predictions before he gets off here. But Jimmy Johnson says Pikeville had 3 turnovers. One was a pick 6 and held a high-powered offense to only 2 scores. Corbin may beat Boyle County this year. They're dynamic on offense. So, and that right there, you always look for the silver lining in things. And I know coaches ain't big on moral victories, but this, for all intents and purposes, was a moral victory for the Pikeville Panthers to go to Corbin in that big new stadium there and be able to play like that. I thought Pikeville has to feel good about themselves leading the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it was first game for Corbin's new head coach too, Luke Salmons, I believe, pretty sure his name. He come over from Cabell Midland.
Yeah,
played at Marshall. So, there was a lot of excitement there for Corbin, and they had a lot to prove, and they did exactly probably what they expected to do.
And yeah, Luke Salmons did an excellent job at Cabell Midland. Couldn't quite get over the hump and beat Martinsburg, but then again.
Yeah, not many have. Yeah, not many have.
And so, but brings an excellent resume. Always was able to get funding and raise interest and garner a lot of support there at Cabell Midland. He pretty much turned that program into a powerhouse. And,
he won't have a problem with that at Corbin. I promise you that.
No. So now he's going to a place that was already a powerhouse.
Yeah,
and so. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what he does there.
Jimmy Johnson says Belfry's problem is in its losses over the history has always been, can they hang on to the football and not have self-inflicted multiple fumbles in a game and covering the spread offense and wide receivers on defense. If they don't lose the football and cover the wideouts, Belfry wins 99% of the games. I agree. That is as spot on as an analysis you can give when it comes to Belfry, and I think a lot of their problem from, a lot of the reason they have such a problem defending the passing game is that they don't do it. So the DBs don't see it in practice like normal teams do, and when they do it, how well are they doing it? Because where they don't do it a ton and don't focus on it. So, I think, them starting to pass the ball a little bit more will definitely help their defense too, guys.
That does make perfect sense when you put it that way. Because it's like, how do you prepare for DBs if your team runs the ball like on every single possession? Like, I remember when they won the state championship, I think it was 2000, the second state championship they won. They rushed for like 520 yards and passed for like less than 20. So it makes perfect sense that analogy does.
Well, and let's just face it, it's getting a little bit better around here, but there's still a lot of schools that just don't pass the ball or pass it very few times that are in a game. So a lot of times what I'll see too is schools that play a lot of run teams, and then they'll play a team that throws the ball a little bit, and they're almost shell-shocked because, I have to cover this guy 30 yards downfield, and it's so I'm sure that there's a bit of that with Belfry, especially, whenever they're facing the run all week, and then suddenly they have someone streaking down the sideline. It's probably a little bit different. It probably takes those DBs a moment or two to get acclimated to that.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's any of them, and like Jared said, Belfry, when you go back in history, obviously, in the short history, I mean, it's Jonathan Wright. Belfry probably threw more of them with Johnson than they threw in a long time. And why not? Because he could throw 70 yards from his knees. I've seen him do it, but, and then, of course, you had Sonny, which Sonny really didn't get to throw the ball much, Jared, did he? I mean, he really didn't show what he could do until he got to college and had that huge breakout game one.
Yeah, he threw it more than maybe your typical Belfry quarterback, but still not as much as maybe he could have or should have. And but they also won the state title when he was a quarterback, so no really complaints there. They did what they had to do to win. And but yeah, man, Sonny had an incredible arm, as everybody knows, because of what he done over there at U-Pike.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson says, thank goodness we're finally getting to the point in the mountains that most teams have an extra point kicker and a punter that can punt it, said further than 40 yards most plays. And that's something, guys, I think, it definitely makes it more interesting to me whenever you got kickers. Letcher has the girl kicker, Emma Adams, I think she was 6 for 7 on extra points.
Either 5 for 6 or 6 for 7.
Yeah, she was 6 for 7 on extra points, and that's a lost art. Everybody goes for 2 these days. They play the numbers game, and at the end of the day, Jared, if you convert on 50% of your 2-point conversions, it's the same as doing 100% of your extra points, right?
Yeah. I mean, having that kicker is definitely a weapon. But if you got a guy that or a play that you feel can get you that 2 every time. Last year, Bell went for 2 every time with Daniel Thomas back there, and I'd love to know their percentages on 2-point tries. And that was the reason they beat Belfry in the playoffs. They scored 3 touchdowns, got 3 2-point conversions. Belfry scored 3 touchdowns and got stopped on one of their 2-point conversions, and the final score, 24-22.
Bradley, see if you can look that up. See if you can look that up for us. But it's
which specific thing, Darryl, again?
Bell County, what their percentage of 2-point conversion attempts.
Oh God.
KHSAA should
be on the KHSAA side. Let me see what we got.
Should have it, but the thing is, I mean, kickers, people forget how important they are until you need them. I mean, you remember, was it Austin Woolham that kicked it the 3-0 championship?
Yeah.
Belfry won a championship 3-0 on Austin Woolham's leg, and but I really like seeing Belfry take that step forward. I think it's going to help both sides of the football. It's going to help keep a lot of players on Pond Creek, and I like that. Even though that Belfry is dominant at what they do.
Yeah.
I think it's nice to have that option if you ever need it.
Exactly. There might be a game where they don't need it, or where they feel like the better game plan would be to, run the ball, control the clock, and just, like they do. But and there could be a game where they need to pass, or what if they get behind, and they need to go to the air. So, yeah, I definitely think there's nothing negative that can come from it.
Yeah, and as a receiver, you got to think, Jared, if you're a receiver, it's going to make you want to block harder if every now and then you're going to get the rock, right?
Oh yeah, of course. It's going to keep you engaged, and you're not going to be sitting over there thinking, when am I going to see the ball? I mean, just keep doing your job, and eventually it's going to come.
SAA is not wanting to work right now.
All right.
for last season, it's been a little sketchy for me the last.
Yeah, it's been doing that for me too.
Yeah.
Gideon Jarvis says Tug's kicker Bosserman kicked a 39-yarder in scrimmage action Friday. Love seeing the kicking game develop. He said, I feel some growth in the soccer around here.
Yeah,
that's true. The growth of soccer, definitely a lot of these kickers come from the soccer field. And
they do, yeah.
Right now, I know Pikeville and Martin County have two of the better kickers, when it comes to, I think both of them, kick 50-yarders in practice on a regular. So,
well,
go ahead, Brad.
Like back in the day, when Marshall was a powerhouse at now FCS 1AA level, they usually didn't go out and recruit a kicker. They just got someone off their soccer team.
Yeah.
They didn't really start going and recruiting kickers very much until they moved up to FBS. And if you remember, I don't know if you remember the whole story about the Merrick brothers there at Marshall. They were there on soccer scholarships. As a matter of fact, the kicker who won the 1AA national championship game, Willie Merrick, he's a head soccer coach at Ohio Dominican right now. So,
I can remember when I think it was Texas State brought a girl in from a soccer team and was kicker.
Texas State Armadillos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Necessary roughness. Oh, man, that takes me back.
Yeah, the great movie there. If you guys haven't seen it or caught the reference, Unnecessary Roughness, one of the football classics. Jimmy Johnson says Belfry's best chance to break that 5-year-long streak to Pikeville this season, but I still think the Panthers get it done. Can't wait for that game. Well, definitely going to be a tough one, but let's go on down the rest of the games. East Carter defeats Estill County, revenges last year's loss 36-0 over the Engineers. Paintsville puts a slacking on Floyd Central 46-6. Greenup County defeats Coe Groves 37-14. Hazard 51-20 over Martin County. Knott Central 48-0 over Jenkins. We got Fleming County loses to Lafayette 27-14. Lawrence County 28-6 win over Rowan. Prestonsburg 22-19 win over Leslie County. Letcher Central 47-12 win over Shelby Valley. Johnson Central loses to Madison Central. A lot of people thought that was a shocker, but listen, at the end of the day, Madison Central is the largest school in Kentucky, I think now. Big 6A power, 25-14 loss for Johnson Central. Mason County defeats Russell 21-12. Morgan County 14-6 win over Eastridge. Lewis County loses to Nicholas County 44-34. Ashland gets a big win over Raceland 28-7. Somerset defeats Perry Central 48-7. Pike Central defeats West Carter 20-14. And then we do not have no score on the McGoffin and Montgomery County game. But, big weekend. That brings us to this coming week, guys. Pike County Bowl. Jared, we got some big matchups, none bigger. We'll start on Friday night. Belfry, who's Belfry got?
George Rogers Clark.
GRC, Coach
Joe
Chirico. Yeah. He won a state title with Paintsville a few years back, and he's bringing a very tough GRC team in here.
Mm-hmm.
GRC, they're a team that, each and every year, GRC, they're going to be compatible in their class. They're also a team that's very well coached, and I promise you, they're getting players in. It's like a open depot there. They get players in every year, studs coming to GRC just to play for that program. And if you see their facilities, you can see why it draws so much people there.
Yeah.
But that game right there, and then the first game will be, who plays first game? Phelps and
no, it'll be Pike Central and Martin County. Good one.
Oh, you got another good one there, guys. Yeah, so we'll start with that one. Pike Central, Martin County. Let's get the predictions. We'll start with JJ first.
I'm gonna go with Pike Central.
All right, Bradley.
Based on this weekend, I'm going with Pike Central.
Jared.
I'm gonna go with Martin County on the bounce back.
I'm gonna stick with Martin County too. I think Martin County, at the end of the day, that I think Hazard's a lot better than people think, and I think Pike Central, that they done this last year. They shocked everybody. Jameer Knuckles is a guy that likes to have his back against the wall. He performs well when he's cornered, and if anybody can do it, it'll be him. But I think, Martin County, to me, is the favorite in this one. Now, Belfry versus GRC. JJ.
Belfry.
Bradley.
But listen, I know where I live, Belfry.
Yeah.
Wuss.
You don't even know.
Last year, George Roger Clark beat them 53-27. But Belfry was winning 27-22 at halftime. And things just didn't go their way in the second half. Man, this is a tough one. This is one I think could go either way, and I think I'm gonna go Belfry on maybe on a late field goal.
There we go.
By Nick Savage.
I'm gonna, you got to go with the old saying, chew tobacco, spit, spit. If you ain't for the Pirates, you ain't worth what. So, Pirates get the win, guys, for the Pike County Bow. Now let's move on to Saturday. Game 1 Saturday is who?
You got Prestonsburg and Eastridge.
Prestonsburg, I think, takes care of business. I know last year Prestonsburg, they ended up, I'm trying to think who they ended up beating Pike Central, I think, last year in the first game, if I'm not mistaken. But this one here, Prestonsburg, back-to-back years getting to play in it. I think Wes Hager will have this team coming to play. Mm-hmm. I think Eastridge, they got some skilled pieces there, but, I don't think it's going to be enough. I think Prestonsburg's just going to be too much.
I'm going with Prestonsburg as well.
Bradley?
Yeah, I think Prestonsburg too much in that one.
Jared?
Yeah, Black Cats for sure.
This is the one everybody wants to know. Johnson Central versus Pikeville. Who you got, JJ?
Oh, wow. That's
4A versus 1A power.
Yeah, but that's not an ordinary 1A school. I think that Pikeville is going to make it competitive, but I think Johnson Central will get it done.
Bradley?
I'm going with Pikeville on this one. I think this will give them some. I think even though they lost, there's going to be some confidence and some things to build off of after that loss at Corbin.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Pikeville as well at home, and this one could go either way, though, guys. I wouldn't be shocked by any means if JC won, and they could come out and dominate. I mean, they're that good, and but I just think Brendan Anthony is going to make enough plays to give the Panthers the win.
I think at home, I think Pikeville's offense is going to be too much. I think Johnson Central, a lot like Belfry, they like to run the ball. Unless they can force turnovers, I think Pikeville will win this game. I think Pikeville, they got a little quick strike offense. Brendan Anthony, the kid's a freak. Could possibly be our player of the year here in the mountains. But, I think at the end of the day, Pikeville, I don't know, especially if Pikeville gets ahead of early, I don't know that Johnson Central can overcome that with the offense that they run, which they do throw the ball more than they have, with Austin Sloan back at quarterback. But I still, myself, I'm going to go with Pikeville at home. It's going to be, I promise you, you better get there early, Jared, because I promise you'll be walking miles for that one.
Oh, yeah.
Have something like, if we're going to do predictions every single week, like let's.
No, we will. Well, we'll do them for certain ones.
Yeah.
But the certain games.
Because I would love to see like how accurate my predictions are, like or how accurate all of our predictions are. If we can get like.
I don't. That'd be ugly here.
Yeah.
It'll expose me for not knowing as much as I project. But.
So Jimmy Johnson says Prestonsburg beat Eastridge last year. Yeah, so that's who they beat. So played them back-to-back years here. Hopefully the Eastridge Pike County Bowl. Hopefully they can give them a good game and fans get a good show there on that one. Now next year, guys, Jared, I don't know if you watched the show the other day. Coach Jones alluded, to very good chance that Mingo Central will be back in the Pike County Bowl next year on a 2-year deal.
Yeah, I've heard some rumblings on that, and we'll wait till it's official. But that'd be cool to see. Because last time they was in it, got cut short. They only got to play one game because of COVID, and that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it definitely be awesome, and I think that's something that needs to happen. Every year. I'd like to see Mingo Central in it.
Yeah, and I see Gideon Jarvis popped up again there. He wants to bring the Panthers on, and maybe on down the road. I mean, that'd be cool to see them in it too. They're a local team, and match them up against Pike Central, Eastridge. Either one of them contests should be decent games.
I think that I think Mingo Central, Tug Valley, being right here on the border, I think it makes sense to have them, their year in, year out. I would like to see them play, Tug Valley play the Eastridges or, Pike Central, like you said, teams like that. But, and then, like Belfry and Pikeville, if you want to bring powerhouses in to play them two teams, then bring them in from out of the area. I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Johnson Central, a lot of people would say they'd like to see Johnson Central in there, more than what they are. But, I like when Belfry myself brings the Cabell Midlands and teams like that over.
Yeah, I'm hearing Belfry's going to have a pretty fun matchup the next couple of years. Like I said, it's not official, so I'll let Community Trust Bank and those guys, I don't want to ruin their announcement or whatever. But, just be looking out for their opponent for the next couple of years.
We'll definitely hang on to that. Said Jacob Rufus said, they let Phelps in it, so why not Phelps is a Pike County school, and it is the Pike County Bowl. Now one thing that I didn't agree, and sorry, got a chuckle out of that. Listen, and Phelps, Phelps put on a good showing against Hurley. They've got a couple new players that come out, and Gavin Hamilton looked really good, as Jared predicted last game. He said Gavin Hamilton, or the other day on the show, you said Gavin Hamilton's the kid to watch for. Well, he had a couple big plays, scored once for the Hornets.
Yeah, they got some decent athletes on that team. With this, as we mentioned last time I was on, with that schedule they got. 3 or 4 wins is not out of the question, and if they get to 5, man, that's they're throwing a party at Hornets. So
yeah, with their schedule, we read it off. It's very possible for them to win 5-6 games this year. They got a schedule that will definitely tend to them doing that. They play a couple Virginia schools that are definitely rebuilding programs. I think they got Jenkins on their schedule, so they'll have an opportunity to have a good season here. But and that's one thing that I hate, this year that Shelby Valley, ain't in the Pike County Bowl. I'm so used to seeing that Shelby Valley Pike Central matchup. I hate that they do that drawing, and now two teams are getting left out. And I don't know what the answer is, Jared, but I do think Shelby Valley, should be in the Pike County Bowl every single year.
Yeah, I mean, where they're district opponents now, there's just really no way around it, and they're already on the schedule later in the year, and they can't play anymore. But yeah, that was a game that you knew you was going to get every year, and yeah, it kind of stinks that one Pike County team going to be left out, or two, I guess actually. But it is what it is there.
Yeah, very tough situation. Jimmy Johnson says, I want to see Pikeville bring in Mayfield, Beechwood, or Cal. Of Louisville said for opponents in the future. And that's in 3A. That's something. Pikeville. I think Pikeville they'll run through Class A. This year, especially Raceland being down. It's probably going to be the semifinals before they even get a decent game in Single A. But one thing that in 3A, I think that Cal is probably the only team that I could see giving Belfry an issue.
Well, I mean, you got Owensboro Catholic, I think, is going to be solid. Lexington, don't forget about Lexington Catholics. They're they're in 3A again. Louisville Central's in 3A. Yeah. There's some teams there that could end up being some threats. But Cal's definitely the top dog, no doubt about that.
Gideon Jarvis says the answer is more games, said 3 games each night. Well, that would push you starting back, pretty. That would be a long day, I think. I would love to see it, but I don't know that I've ever seen a high school bowl that I can think of that had 3 games. Can y'all?
No, and then you. How many times have you seen the Pike County Bowl delayed due to heat?
Yeah.
And if you're starting a game at 4 and then it gets pushed back to 7, then you got to get 3 games in starting at 7 o'clock.
And Bourbon County, when David Jones brought Bourbon County to Belfry, they was there at 2 o'clock that morning.
And that was for lightning.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just don't know if it's possible because of what time of the year the bowl is and the heat factor. But that'd be, I mean, hey, I'm all about more football games. So
you can maybe do it like on Thursday, have another location, do Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I could see that 2 games, each night there. But
at a night,
but because now, like if you're talking about I was at Pikeville one year covering the Pike County Bowl, and they delayed it. They had to delay it for 2 hours because the temperature on the field was like 135 degrees bouncing off that turf.
Could be a factor this Friday too. If I was looking ahead, it's
it's supposed to be really hot, isn't it, this weekend?
Yeah, 96, high of 96. So depends on what it'll be there around 6:30. It might get delayed there at Belfry.
Well, as we said here, Jimmy Johnson says Cal is really good year in, year out. Yeah, they're always a perennial power, and I don't know. It'll be interesting. Cal was always, until last year, they was always that team that every year they was going to be good, but I was never going to bet on them because they always, let people down in the postseason. But seems like they've kind of got over that hump now. So, definitely Cal's there. Guys, don't forget Thursday night football kicks off in West Virginia. As you got 2 big ones, Man versus Logan. And then I know Jared ain't gonna like this, but we're gonna pick the Mingo Tug game. So
I'm gonna go the Kirk Herbstreit route. I'm gonna telling you. I don't know if y'all watch College Game Day, but the games that Kirk is covering on the air, he don't pick. So call me Herbstreit today.
We'll give Jared the out.
I think for professional courtesy there, Jared, we need to give you.
Because I got to interview both those head coaches after the game, so
yeah,
we'll cut me some slack on that today.
Well, let's go. Let's go around the horn. We'll start Man Logan. JJ, who you got?
Man versus Logan?
Yeah.
I'm going to take Man.
All right. The Bradley?
That's tough, but I'm going with Man also in that one.
Jared?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Logan. Man's got a couple guys banged up. You know, they haven't played in both their scrimmages.
Oh, man. See, I didn't know that.
Caleb Mullins and I can't remember the other kid's name right off the top of my head. Dustin Baisden, maybe.
Well, those are pretty big ones.
But two guys. But they could play. But even if they do, I think Logan has a good team this year. Lucas Lambert's a name you really want to listen to or pay attention to. This kid's going to be a stud. He's just a freshman, and I think Logan gets revenge this year and gets the first win of Coach Brandon Atkins' career.
Yeah, I think Brandon Atkins is doing a fabulous job with this program, and he's put together, I think, a nice squad. I think Zayden Sherrod, on the outside,
Sherrod
if you
makes
get
plays.
the ball to him, I think he can make some big plays. But until they do it, I got to go with the Hillbillies.
It's tough that first coach first game for the new head coach as well. So
it is. We seen it happen.
But I would not be surprised in the slightest if Logan come out and play.
No, absolutely. That's almost a pick 'em game there.
Yeah.
So now let's go up Minor Mountain.
Here we go.
Coach David Jones, Coach Haiti Ford will do battle on Minor Mountain. And guys, if I'm not mistaken, this will be, from talking to Coach Jones, this will be the last time they play for a minute. So,
really,
yeah, I'm pretty sure they're taking this game off the schedule where they'll be playing in the Pike County Bowl.
Oh wow!
So it definitely won't be week one.
If they can get it later in the year, I think they'd like to maybe keep it on. But it just depends how things work out, and so there is a chance, I would imagine, if
it needs to happen. It's Mingo County, Mingo County rivalry. I'd like to see them be able to continue the game, but they definitely won't be playing week one anymore for the next 2 years, anyways.
For 2 years,
yeah. So as we're going, JJ, who you got?
Well, I went to church with Coach Haiti back in the day, but Coach Jones, he's like my big brother. And Aiden's
obviously your boss now.
Aiden's obviously my favorite player. So, I got to go with Mingo Central just for that reason.
Bradley,
listen, Darryl. Full disclosure here. I at one point I helped out Tony Klusky at Tug Valley. Years ago and stuff. And quite frankly, if I predicted against Tug Valley right now, I would not want people showing up at my house. So I know where I live, and I'm going with Tug in this one for a pretty big upset, I feel.
Yeah.
I think Tug upsets them. I think the offense, Tug Valley's offense is, I think it's, more dynamic right now. I think Mingo Central, still trying to figure some things out on offense. And, I think Preston May, Bryson Eli, I think they're going to, it's going to be tough on the defense. And Gideon Jarvis said they all know where you live, Bradley. So
Gideon knows, man. Gideon was on some of those teams. So yeah.
But I'll say, let's see. Let me think about it.
Well, you just did the soundbite of the day. You picked Tug Valley for the upset. So
I think I think at the end of the day, I think you got Ashton Davis on the edge. I just I think that Minor Mountain may see an upset on Friday night.
What I worry about if I'm Tug, what I worry about in that one is the line play. I think Mingo Central's line, at least coming into the season, off of last season, is better. So Tug's line's going to have to step up if they win that game. I do think Tug's skill position players are pretty good though.
Yeah.
And so
and quarterback
Tug has a yeah. I mean Preston May is
real deal.
Yeah, he's proven himself.
But I will say this. Listen, at the end of the day, I think that people, they don't know, this Mingo Central's team's coming in, a little unknown right now. I think to a lot of people, they don't realize, the speed that's on this team. This team has a lot of speed in the backfield, around the edges. Vance in the backfield is a freak. Of course, got one of the best wideouts in the business, and I think Coach Jones, he may throw some trickery in there, or I think you could see some neat stuff by the offense. Josh Salmons does a great job up there. I like the coaching staff they've assembled, but I think Haiti Ford and them got things clicking. I think they're gonna have a good season in Naugatuck.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna make a prediction, obviously, but Coach Jones still hasn't really named a quarterback publicly, so I'm maybe he has to the team, but you got two guys there, Jackson Nenny Mills and Caden Porter, who could both see playing time potentially, depending on how one plays early. If one of them comes, whoever gets the start, if they don't play well, you might see Porter get put in there, or vice versa. If he gets the start, you might see Nenny Mills put in there. It's going to be interesting to see.
Well, he said, I think he said on the show the other day, I think he said Nenny Mills, if I'm not mistaken, might have took over.
Okay.
Yeah, but I could be wrong, but
I think he's at least leaning that direction from what I understand.
Yeah.
I think it's going to, I'll tell you this, I don't think it'll be 38-0 like last year. And that'll be my only prediction.
The Gideon Jarvis says billboard material for Dave. No, I honestly, I think Tug, to me myself, I think Tug, with the power they got on offense, they got some big time hitters, man, at skill position, and I just Mingo right now, if this was probably week 3, week 4, I'd probably go Mingo. But right now, I think Tug, they're used to running that offense. I think David's got a lot of new pieces that he's implemented, and I think Tug's getting them at the right time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Early in the year, Tug has a bunch of guys returning. They're gonna be they're gonna be pretty much almost kind of, don't want to say mid-season form, but close to it. And Mingo's pretty much a new team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's why I just think they got chemistry. And as Tug Valley, there's not a lot of pieces that transfer in, not a lot that transfers out. So these boys have been playing together for a long time. And they got a really good junior and senior class. So I look forward to seeing what they do on Friday night up there. Either way, it should be a good game.
Yeah, agreed.
The guys, real quick, we got a couple topics that definitely want to mention real quick before we go off air. Guys, new COVID shot coming out. Don't know if you guys got to see that, but a new strand of COVID shot coming out. Question is, will any of you guys, will y'all take this shot?
Well, I recently took a vaccine probably about 5 or 6 months ago. It was the Novavax. So I'm hoping that will be enough to hold me over. I mean, I didn't expect them to come out with a new shot.
Well, what about you, Bradley? Would you take a COVID shot?
Hey, I go with my fine medical team at the Cleveland Clinic. So that's what I do. I wait for their recommendation and go with it.
Jared, would you take a COVID shot?
I think I'm good.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. I 100% am not taking a COVID shot. I took one And the doctors, they couldn't tell me 100%, but they told me that's why I got Bell's palsy, and not a chance. My biggest regret, you've heard me say it on the show, is taking the COVID shot. My biggest regret in life. I think it may end up cheating me out some years at the end of my life, and not a chance I'm taking it. So, guys, West Virginia, the heat wave coming, said West Virginia, the biggest drought in the U.S. in West Virginia, said it could affect Kentucky, Ohio, and West Virginia over the next couple of weeks. JJ, yeah, you read a little more in on this. Tough situation, and hopefully, that all football players on Friday night stay safe through this.
Absolutely, that's my biggest concern. I mean, and I believe somebody mentioned possibly 96 degrees this weekend.
Yeah,
I mean that's unbelievable, especially we're going into September.
Yeah,
I mean I'm really worried about these kids. I mean,
yeah, tough heat wave coming through. Make sure you stay safe, stay hydrated. The guys, another thing. Let me ask you this. If you were stranded in space, as trying to bring it up, NASA announces plan to return stranded astronauts next year. We got 2 astronauts stranded in space right now, and NASA has announced that they are going to try to bring them home next year. Guys, does that make you think twice about going to space?
I mean, the idea of going to space is kind of cool, but it's like, well, wait a minute. What happens if we're in a situation?
Yeah. I'd never planned on going to space anyway, but I will say this. It stinks for them because, I think they were only supposed to be gone, 8 days?
Yeah.
Now it's going to be 8 months.
I mean, that's tough. Even if they get them back then, they end up getting stranded. I mean, what's the difference between that and a jail sentence? I mean, you're stuck, up there for a year away from your family. And, the big thing is, I hope they got Wi-Fi on that thing.
I mean, if you've got Wi-Fi, I guess you can make some adjustments and possibly tolerate it, but if you don't have any kind of internet access and you're just isolated from the world, I mean, that's...
Well, my question, guys, do you think they got to sign a waiver before they go to space? I will not sue NASA if this happens.
I think that's just kind of part of the job, Darryl. I mean, I think space travel is not exactly something that we've ever ironed out as a species. So I think the risks involved if you go up there. And honestly, being stranded for 8 months on the International Space Station is a lot better than the fate of some people who've traveled to space. So I'll say that.
I agree with that.
What about you, Jared? Would you do you think twice now before you go to space?
Yeah, I don't have any kind of wish to ever go to space. I'll leave that to Elon Musk and his guys. They can go to space and tell us all about it.
Well, let me ask you this: what would you do first? Would you go to space, or would you hop in that capsule that went undersea? The one that capsulated, that capsule last year,
the one that imploded.
Yeah. Would you? Are you more likely to go to space or more likely to go in the depths of the sea that nobody's been to?
Well, the thing about going to space, however, the technology is going to be much better versus using a Logitech controller that you can purchase from Amazon.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, I would probably trust outer space a bit more.
What about you, Jared?
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking that same setup that those guys that went down to see the Titanic, yeah, I probably wouldn't choose that. But if it's a different setup, if it's like NASA level technology going down into the ocean, I might do that. Just, I feel like if you go down there and something implodes, then you're just going to be gone instantly. So there's no suffering. If you go up to space and you're just stuck in space forever, possibly. So I don't know about that.
It would depend. I'm going to space if I'm choosing between that and a PlayStation controller, right?
I'm going to space because my biggest fear is drowning. That's my biggest fear in life is drowning. And
well, they didn't drown.
No, they didn't drown, but I still would have that fear. Like, listen, what if it starts leaking, or what if what if something happens here? And so my biggest fear is drowning. I am not going undersea. I will go to space 10-1 over I will before I'll go to the depths of the sea. Now, last thing, guys, and I know this is going to be a controversial topic here. And I'm going to go against my better judgment here on this matter, but Donald Trump has announced that he will host a gala for the riders of the one that rioted the Capitol building there last year. What's your thoughts on him hosting the gala and kind of celebrating the Capitol riots?
I think it's honestly, to me, that's another dark moment in history. I mean, and I think it's a little, because if it was the other party that had done that on January the 6th, the other party would have had something to say. And I don't think that, I mean, there's a certain way that we've always tried to, do things in America, and breaking into the Capitol. I mean, I don't, regardless of which side of the field you're on, I mean, I'm not a fan of it.
Well, you have a say in it, Bradley?
I think it's in really bad taste. I'll just leave it at that. I don't think you need to celebrate something like that. That's one of the darkest days in history, at least as far as democracy is concerned.
Yeah, myself, I'm the biggest Trump fan you'll ever see, but I think this is a bad look. At the end of the day, you don't award stuff like this, because it's going to create them to do it more. I mean, we all see, it's no different than Democrats, or, like Black Lives Matters, whenever they riot in protest and everybody takes and bashes them, for rioting. I think riots are the stupidest thing that ever come about. I mean, that's one thing I wish we would get rid of, because you're tearing up stuff that you're going to have to pay to fix, that taxpayers are going to have to pay to fix. You're breaking in buildings in your own community, just like, riots. You're breaking in buildings that, taxpayers are going to have to pay to fix, or them businesses leave your area and you're, messing up the future for your kids and your grandkids. These riots here, you don't want to set the tone and the precedent that that's okay, because there could come a day when, it don't matter what party's in office, that this could be a danger and possibly overthrow a government. We see it in other countries all the time, so.
And what would have happened if they could have actually got into those rooms where the politicians had the doors locked?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think they would have just been like, oh, we're just going to have a conversation? No, like, there would have been at least one or two people in that bunch that would have probably tried to do something crazy.
Well, tough situation.
Yeah.
So, guys, Friday night, the Thursday, Friday night football kicks off week 1 in each state. I am very excited for this. Jared, cannot wait to get your reports from the Pike County Bowl. I'm excited to see how many people come out to it. Excited. It's good games. On Pond Creek Friday night, both games are good games. I think Johnson Central and Pikeville will be one of the most anticipated games in the state. There'll be a huge target and bullseye on that game for statewide media. And then the Mingo Central Tug Valley, I think everybody here in Mingo County is licking their chops waiting for that game. So I highly suggest everybody go out and support their local teams and make sure, Minor Mountain, Jared, I want to see Minor Mountain break attendance records on Friday.
Hey, that'd be awesome. It's going to be tough, because that first crowd that when they played their first game up there in 2011, JJ, you might have been there. Whenever they played Wyoming East, man, they had the W band there performing. I mean, there was over 6,000 people there.
Are you talking about the very first game that they ever had?
First game ever, yeah.
I remember Nick Lee scored the first ever touchdown. I remember that game. That's actually the last time that I went to a Mingo Central game, so I'm really excited.
Daggone. It's been a while, huh?
That's about as long as you can go. Well, that is as long as you can go.
It's been a minute.
That's literally as long as you can
The
go.
first was like, I'm good.
Yeah,
I told you guys, JJ is the most sheltered human being I've ever met. Like this kid, like you would not believe the stuff that he don't know or that he's never heard of. Like, we'll drive by, we go up to Southside Mall and he's like, oh, they put a mall up here, and like JJ, it's been there. Like, what are you talking about, son?
The Eric C. Kahn statue, like I still couldn't.
Yeah.
Statue. I was like, who in the world is that? I don't know who that is.
JJ just recently watched Mate One.
Yeah, Mate One, Wild and Wonderful Whites, Eric C. Kahn. He knows none of that, Jared.
You got some catching up to do, bud.
He does.
Do better.
Yeah, there you go. Guys, want to thank each and every one of you guys for joining. We want to thank the Wimpson Daily News for always sponsoring our Monday segment here on Tuesday with Jared McCormick. And guys, make sure you follow Wimpson Daily News and Jared McCormick for all your sporting news, as well as D&D Sports Network. Jared, want to thank you for joining us. Bradley, as always, definitely want to thank our co-host Bradley and JJ here. And Jared, look forward to seeing you Thursday night.
I appreciate it, guys. And I got one quick plug. Tomorrow, our high school preview edition comes out in the Daily News, the Logan Banner, Coal Valley News, and the Lincoln Journal. You'll have previews for Belfry Phelps, Mingo Central, Tug Valley, Logan, Man, Chapmanville, Van, Sherman, and Scott, and Lincoln County. So be sure you guys get that. And some pretty in-depth previews on all those teams, and it's teams you don't know much about. You can learn a lot about them right there, rosters and everything.
Now, Jared, is that printed copies and social media?
Printed copy, and the stories will be online too.
Okay.
So starting tomorrow, you can read them all online, or you can get you a printed copy, and that's it's something I look forward to having every year, even before I started at the paper. So we take a lot of pride in it. It's a lot of time goes into getting it done.
Yeah.
So Jared, you know how on some of these episodes I like to do a throwback jersey segment?
Yeah.
Every time you come on this show once a week, if you could find a throwback newspaper article, like an old sports article, we love to see it.
Okay. Even if it's a link, I'll send it to Darryl or something. I'll get on that. I Absolutely. Like
that.
Yeah. But guys, we're going to take and hop off here. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. We promise, bright and early. Make sure you guys come and join us here on the Startup Morning Show. And guys, till next time, so long and good day.